Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Juliet. In this video I will be sharing with you how I made this lovely maxi dress. So here I have my fabric for both front and back folded into two each, and I used my shoulder measurement divided by 2 plus sleeve length and another 1 inch for allowance. That is what I used to fold, and then the length is from the shoulder to the half length plus 1 inch of allowance. So shoulder to half length is 17 plus 1 inch allowance is 18. So here I marked my shoulder divided by 2, and then the sleeve length is 11 plus 1 inch, making it 12. So all in all it's 7 plus 12, which is what I used to fold, and then the length is to the half length like I mentioned. So here I'm marking the shoulder divided by 2, shoulder of 15 divided by 2, which is 7.5, is what I marked here. And then the length of the armholes is 9 inches, but that is just going to serve as a guide. We're not using it for now. So at this center point I marked 3 inches in, and then I'm marking 2 inches down at the open end, and I'm connecting in a slant like so. That is going to form the shoulder slant. So down here I'm marking the half length round divided by 4, quarter of the half length round, and then I'm marking extra 5 inches for allowance. So this dress has a smoky effect at the waistline, so I'm adding 5 inches extra to cover for that. You will see in a minute. So up here I'm marking the bust divided by 4 plus another 2 inches for allowance. I'm going to connect this line to the down part like so. So next up I'm marking the sleeve opening, which is 17, so divided by 2, that is 8.5 plus 1 inch, making 9.5. I marked it, and then I just curved from the underbutt point to that, and 9.5 I marked like so. So next I'm marking the neckline, which is 4 inches wide and 6.5 inches deep. That is for the front. So 4 inches wide and then 6.5 inches deep. So it's going to be a V neckline on the front. So I'm just drawing a straight line from the shoulder down to the length of the neckline. So next up I measure that line to get the middle, and then I will place it, I will mark that middle now, and then go in by ½ inch and then connect the 3 points together, as you can see. Then I'm marking the back neckline now, which is 1.5 inches deep, while the wideness is the same as the front. So next up I'll be cutting out. I'm going to cut the slant like so. Then I will cut the back neckline, only the back. After which I'll lift the front piece and then cut the front neckline only on the front, like so. Then I'll trim this other side as well. So that's it for the front and the back. Next up, I'm going to be cutting the facing for both front and back. So for the front, it's going to be on the outside, and I'm using this black fabric. This is plain Daviva. So I folded it into two. So I'm going to place the folded edge of the front piece on the folded edge of this black fabric. I'm tracing out the neckline now. And then a bit of the shoulder part. So next up, I'm going to mark 3 inches from that line down. I mark 3 inches, and then I mark 3 inches on this upper part as well. Then I go ahead to mark 3 inches all around, following that neckline, like so. After which I'll connect them together and cut. So this is the front facing all done. Next up, I'll be cutting the back facing. So for the back facing, we're going to be using the same fabric to cut it. Here I have the fabric, I folded it into two. So I'm going to match the folded edge of the back piece on the folded edge of this fabric down here, and then I'll trace out the neckline with a bit of the shoulder, after which I will mark 3 inches from this point and then 3 inches on this other side, and then I will connect both points together. And that's it for the back facing. So next up, I'm going to iron the facing. Fold it by ½ inch on the lower part, fold it to the wrong side. I use the iron to iron it down. This will make it easier for me when I want to sew it to the main fabric. So that is it for the back. I'm going to repeat the same thing for the front facing. So next up, this is the back piece. So I'm placing it, this is the right side of the back piece. The right side of the back piece facing up. So I'm going to mark ½ inch below the underbust. The underbust I'm working with is 14.5. So I marked 15. So from the down part to that 15, I had 3 inches. So I'm marking 3 inches from the down all across. I'm going to connect that into a straight line. So that is where the the smoky effect is going to start from, ½ inch below the underbust. So next I'll mark ½ inch upwards from the lower part. That ½ inch is the seam allowance we are going to join to the free part of the dress. So this is a space where the smokiness is going to sit. So this is the elastic thread we're going to be using, and then here is the bobbin and the bobbin case. I just roll it on it like so, place it in the bobbin case, and then sew. I have a video on how to make a smoky dress, to check it out if you are not familiar with this process. So this is the facing. I'm pinning it on the right side of the back piece. So this is right sides together. So I'll go sew it, then turn it to the wrong side and iron it, but I will not top stitch yet until after I've joined the shoulders together. So that is it for the back. Then on the front part, we're still going to mark the ½ inch below the underbust on the right side. So when sewing with the smoky thread, your right side is usually facing up, so the smoky thread is going to show only on the wrong side of your fabric. I'll link that video down below, you understand it better. I'm also going to mark the ½ inch from the down part like so, just the same way we did for the back. So for this front piece, we are pinning the facing on the wrong side. So the right side of the facing is facing the wrong side of the front piece. So we're going to place it like so, pin it together, and then I'll go sew it all around. After which I will turn it to the right side and top stitch. Remember, we are not top stitching the back facing just yet, but for the front we're going to top stitch it. Yeah. So here is the front piece. I've done the smoking, and then I have sewn the facing to the right side. This is what it's looking like. While sewing, you pull so that the dress will maintain its original measurement and not become too small after smoking. I don't know if I'm making sense. So this is the back. We're yet to stitch it down, stitch the facing down. We're going to be joining the shoulders next. So matching right sides together, front and back. Then I turn the facing to the front side, and then we're going to go sew it like that using ½ inch. Then I place it this side again, the same thing, turn the facing to the front, and then sew using ½ inch. So after sewing, this is what we have. I'm going to iron it down, make it smooth and clean. So next off, using this measurement on the sleeve, that's both the front and the back sleeve together. I measured all around that point. We're going to cut, we're going to make a turn up using the black fabric. So using this measurement we have here, we're going to cut a piece of black material. So here is the material I'm going to be using. I measured 4 inches all around, measuring 4 inches wide. I'm going to be cutting this out. So after cutting it out, I folded it into 2 wrong sides together, and then I am ironing it in place. So next up, I folded it into 2. I'm going to divide that into 2 and then use 1 for each sleeve. Next up, I folded it again into 2 and I'm going to notch the middle. So next, I place the notched point on the shoulder seam on the wrong side. So this is the wrong side of the upper piece that we're pinning this on. So it's going to turn over to the right side later on. So I pinned it in place. I'll go sew it straight. I'll repeat the same for the other sleeve. Remember, we're pinning on the wrong side. So I've sewn it and I turned it to the right side. I also tacked it down in the middle. So next up, I'm turning it to the inside. So I'm placing it right sides together now. I'm going to pin the sides in place. So next up, I'm going to place my measurement. So the sleeve opening I'm working with is 8.5. So I'm going to place my tape and mark the 8.5 points. And then for the rest of the body, I just mark 1 inch or thereabout all the way down. So I'm going to repeat the same thing on the opposite side, and then I'll take it to my machine and sew down on those lines. So after sewing it, this is what the upper piece is looking like. So next up, we're going to be cutting the flay piece on the down. So I'm going to stretch this out like so, and then measure what we have here. So remember, it's into 2, so whatever you get, you multiply it by 2, which is what we're going to be using. So here I got about 50 inches, so I divided that 50 by 3.14, which gave me about 16 inches. So 16 inches plus the lower part of my dress, which is 41 inches plus seam allowance, making it 43. I'm going to add those together and then cut twice that width on my Ankara fabric, which is what I'm illustrating here with this paper, because my camera will not capture the entire space. So you cut twice of that measurement and then fold it into 2. Then you fold it again into a triangle like so. Fold it again into a triangle like so. Then next off, we'll mark the 16 inches we got from dividing the waist round by 3.14. So from this edge, you will mark 16 inches all the way around. So after which, from this edge now, you mark your length, which is the 43 I got plus the 16 inches for the radius. So the two together, you mark it all the way around. So if you are using Ankara fabric, there's a high chance that your material, your length will not be complete. One half of your length will not be complete because of the width of the Ankara fabric, as you can see on this paper here. So what you do is, after cutting, you get another piece of fabric, sew it to that point, and then trace it back together. I will show you in this illustration in a minute. So you cut the piece and then you join it here, right sides together, on both of the sides that are short. After which, you fold it back into 4, turn it to the side that was complete, and then trim off following that same shape. See, and there you have it for the skirt part. So I'm going to be doing it, showing you now on the fabric, which I'm sure you will not see clearly.
Baby, it's whatever. All this ever about you long gone, it don't matter. Tell me you're no good. I'm brushing away, the weight of you, of my shoulders. Done with my cigarette, and when all the smoke is clear, I'm brushing away the weight of you, the weight of you. Don't need tell me you're no good. I'm brushing away the weight of you, of my shoulders. Done with my cigarette. And when all the smoke is clear, I'm brushing away to you, the way to you, the way to you. Don't need a snowman.
So after cutting that out, I went ahead to join the side seams together and I ironed open. I also hemmed the lower part of the skirt. So next up, I'll be joining it to the upper part of the dress. So what I do is match them right sides together. So I'll place the upper part right sides together with the lower part, matching the side seams to the side seam, although the skirt has just one side seam. So match that side seam to a side seam on the upper part. Stretch it out. I'm going to stretch it out and sew together using that ½ inch we left. Pull while you sew so it fits exactly. I'll go sew it round and I've already hemmed the lower part, as you can see. So after joining up and down together, this is what we have. And that is it for this tutorial, how to make a maxi dress with smoky waist and dolman sleeves. Thank you so much for watching. If you have a question, leave it down in the comment section below. Like this video, share it with your friends, and I will see you in my next one. Please don't forget to subscribe. Bye.